Hello, I'm your Kingdom Spiritual Transformational and Life Purpose Life Coach and Mentor, Latricia Booker, here with Kingdom Business. Well, we are empowered. Well, we here, we get delivered, and we get free. We know who we are. We elevate our minds and our spirits and raise and expand our consciousness to ultimately walk in our true divine purpose and power, and that is the truth of who God has created us to be. Kingdom people, we are history makers, we are world changers, we are dream successors, we are wealth generators, we are manifestors, we are curse breakers, and we are most definitely transformers. More than meets the eye. Yeah, Kingdom people, we are. Kingdom people, thank you all so very much for viewing my videos. Thank you for all the likes, subscribe, shares, comments, feedback, and encouragement and inspiration. Thank you all so much for all your financial contributions to my channel and for all the seeds that you so generously sow into me and my ministry. Thank you for all your bookings, for all your purchases. Thank you, Kingdom people, for all your love and for everything that you do here on Kingdom Business. Kingdom people, thank you. So, Kingdom people, I am on location, and you already know what I'm here to do. And if you don't know, then now you know. I am here to drop this beat, this word, this message. Yeah. So, Kingdom people, I am the chain breaker, and you are chain breakers too. Are y'all ready to break these chains? Let's go. Come on. Let me upgrade you. Let me activate you. Let me elevate you, Kingdom people. Come on. So, Kingdom people, you did the right thing. You did the right thing, Kingdom people. That's what God has been showing me in several different situations, how you're doing the right thing, Kingdom people. And that is what's causing your elevation. That contributes to your elevation because you keep doing the right thing, even when the wrong thing is being done to you. So, Kingdom people, those who you loved, you helped, you tried to help, you tried to do right by, and they mishandled you, you did the right thing. You did the right thing. I'm just hearing when you walked away. Because some of you had to walk away. You did the right thing when you walked away. You did the right thing in how you handled the situation. And here's the thing, Kingdom people. Sometimes, depending on the situation, you may have handled it in a not so mature way until God corrected you and you learned and you mature and God was showing you how to deal with it in a different way. And to Kingdom people, because you are elevating and you're growing and maturing spiritually, you begin to just deal with things in a more mature way. And God is saying you did the right thing. You did the right thing with how you handled those who have mishandled you. And in some cases, Kingdom people, you've tried to help people, like sincerely, genuinely, with no strings attached, not with no craziness behind it. You are sincerely trying to help people and do right by them, should I say. For the most part, Kingdom people, you do right by people. And Kingdom people, sometimes people don't appreciate that, or they mishandle you. And Kingdom people, listen, you still did the right thing, because many a times God have you in people's lives and have people in your lives. They supposed to be a blessing to you. Sometimes you supposed to be a blessing to them, or both. But regardless of what happened, if you did right by them and they just completely mishandled some things, you did the right thing. If they were supposed to be a blessing to you or were supposed to do something for you or something like that, or what I'm hearing is what God been speaking to me about too, is how there are people, Kingdom people, who have taken things from you, who have kept things from you that are rightfully yours. And God said, when you learned of it, you took the high road. You didn't press the issue. You just I'm hearing, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You let God deal with the situation. And God is saying that you did the right thing. You did the right thing, Kingdom people. Listen, those who have mishandled you, I'm hesitant because I'm hearing something other than what I wanted to say. I'm hearing God say, those who mishandle you are receiving judgment. But kingdom people, the ones that mishandled you, you did right back. And again, even if at one point in time you used to handle yourself a certain way, again, as you maturing, you're doing it better. And God is saying, because you elevated, because you grew, you did the right thing, because that's what you're supposed to do, grow and elevate. Now here, I was speaking to a young lady not long ago, and she was sharing with me a situation she had with a relative. And, well, maybe not a relative, someone she knew. And obviously this person is someone that she knew for a long time. And it's possible that it was a relative. I can't remember. I do believe it was a relative. But it wasn't like it was a relative. So she was sharing with me her story about her relative, a young lady who, she had a rough life, you know. And, you know, she just had to go through a whole lot of stuff. She went through a lot of stuff. And in spite of all that, you know, she was resilient. She did well for herself in her life. I mean, to the point to where, you know, she's doing really well. She's like successful on a whole nother level. And so the lady who was speaking to me about it, she was just sharing how her mom had died. The young lady's mom had died. Not the one talking to me, but the young lady she was speaking about. Her mom had died. And then she had heard some things that were going on, you know, where people was handling her inappropriately. And she had known when it was happening, but when she heard about what had happened, she felt like she needed to go see about this young lady. So she had booked an appointment with this young lady at her place of business. And, you know, there was a conversation that went back and forth. And the lady that was speaking to me kind of just let her know how, you know, I didn't know all this was going on. And I just had to come see about you, you know, make sure you're okay. She was coming from a genuine, sincere, loving, caring place. And so the young lady responded and said, well, you always was quiet or whatever. So whatever happened after the services was done and over, the young lady that was talking to me booked another appointment with her at a later date. And God had just been putting this young lady on her heart to just reach out to and to do these things, to book the appointment. She was just had her on her. God had just had this young lady on her heart, you know, and just knowing how she had been mishandled. She had already went through a lot of trauma and stuff throughout her life, and then learning that when her mom passed, now she doesn't have anyone, you know, because she never was handled properly, you know, even among the family. And so when her mom passed, it was kind of, you know, I don't want to say it was traumatic for her, but it's more so just knowing the trauma she had experienced and the way she was handled. Like, people just, like, did her wrong. And like I said, God was moving on the lady that was talking to me, moving on her heart to just tend to her, you know, because it wasn't cool how she had been mishandled. And remember, in spite of what she went through, she is very resilient, very successful. And I reckon that she was mishandled when her mom passed away because of that. And so when a lady that was speaking to me tried to book a second appointment with the young lady, she would never respond. And so she ended up going to somebody else, who come to find out the person was best friends with her original person, the young lady she was trying to book with. And so it was just interesting at how things came full circle. But what we came to, with the conclusion she kind of came to, is that, or what God revealed to her, is that the young lady responded to her in that way because it, you know, she didn't know where she was coming from. And, you know, being a successful person, even after people have tried to stop, block, mishandle you, and you experience all these traumas, and then you still become resilient, sometimes what happens is people try to latch on to you, attach themselves to you because of your success. They want a part of it. People will attach to you. You all know that. People try to attach themselves to you to benefit off of you. And so the young lady thought that that's what the lady who was talking to me was trying to do. That's what she shared that God revealed to her. And, you know, she wasn't doing anything like that. She was sincerely trying to reach out to her. And so she said that God just told her, just pray for her, just keep her in your prayers, that that's her assignment. And so shouts out to you, sis. I'm sharing your story because it was so meaningful. God had just been speaking to me about different things, and this came up. And the point that I'm making here, you did the right thing, is the point. You did the right thing. But what had happened, Kingdom people, is, like I said, the young lady never got back to her, and she just kind of let it go. But she just keep her in her prayers. And what God was speaking to me about is how, you know, we respond from a place of what we've been through. You know, we're all different people because of what we've experienced, what we learned, the environment what we was in. Everything that we experience and that we walk through contributes to who we are as people and how we respond. And even though sometimes we have to mature in our way of dealing with things and responding to things by doing the inner work, by healing, dealing with those inner conflicts, you know, doing the work to become secure within self, so you won't project your insecurities onto someone else. I don't know where that came from, but that ain't even a part of this message, but maybe that needed to be said. But the thing is, Kingdom people, the young lady didn't mean no harm. She was really just protecting herself by not responding. And some of us know about that, how we just move around people. But the thing was, and this is not a person who necessarily walks with God closely. I'll say that. I'm not saying she don't have no relationship with God. I'm not saying that at all, because I don't know. But what I'm saying is, we have to, as people, understand where people are coming from, especially when we know our hearts is in the right place. And the whole point is this: you did the right thing. When you do what God tells you to do, and the response is not the best, you still did the right thing. You did. You know why? Because you did what God told you to do, and that's what matters. And then you continue to do what God's telling you to do, even if things turn or go left. Still continue to do what God tells you to do, and when you do that, you're doing the right thing. And so, Kingdom people, God began to speak to me and talk to me about how we as Kingdom people, it's important for us to understand, be whole, to be whole, and be doing the work to be whole, because we're going to have to be dealing with people who maybe not be so much. They may be dealing with certain things, and we have to, regardless of whether we understand it or not, we have to look at where people are coming from in situations like that, because they only responding from what they've gone through, from what they're being through. And again, in this case, this was this person's way of protecting themselves. And God caused me to look at myself, because that same, I want to say earlier that day, if I'm not mistaken, well, he pointed it out to me earlier that day. This was last week. So one day I was having a conversation with my significant other, and something he was saying to me, at one point in time I would have responded different, but I had to come to learn that when he addresses or points out certain things, and it, you know, that pertains to the matter in which he was speaking about, I had to learn where he came from, because, you know, again, we all different. And when you come together with people, you come together with somebody who got sometimes you're culturally different, sometimes just how you came up was different, what you know, you have different walks of life. Maybe some similarities, it's some kind of common ground that brought you two together, but it's differences there. And so when you come together with people, you know, it's like this. The same word, we can use the same word or the same statement, and it could mean one thing when they say it, and it could mean something else when I say it. So these are things you have to learn about the person. And so me being how I was, this person said something to me this time, but now I'm knowing where they come from when they're saying that, and understand their intentions. And I know they don't mean it in no nasty way. And not that I ever thought they did, but I responded differently than what I had done some time before in the past. But I learned, and I learned, and I had to adjust the behavior. And the thing is this, Kingdom people, when it was happening, when we're having this conversation, I'm following through on responding the proper way. And the old girl, the old chick, the one who's passed away, who we don't do her no more, because we've matured and we've grown. She was trying to tell me, you know, she was giving me the verbiage of what I would have said previously before I had overcome this thing and learned and matured in this place. And so God had brought all this to my attention and was saying, you did the right thing. So kingdom people, when you learn and you grow and you're not responding the same that you used to because you did whatever it is for you, you now know a better way. You're doing things God's way. And the thing is this, the way I was responding, you know, in this particular situation, it comes from a place of, you know, it comes from a place that in that situation, it came from a place, well, I can't even really explain it. Misunderstanding. Like I already said, a person can mean something this way, but where I came from, this person means this way. From where they come from, this how they do things. From where I come from, it's like, hold on. But I had to learn. I learned and I know, but my old self was still trying to kick in. And God was like, you did the right thing. And so what God pointed out to me too is this. Part of the reason why the enemy likes to keep antagonizing you and get you to respond in a negative way, and when you mature, try to take you back to doing something, you know, the reason why he does that, kingdom people, is because when you correct yourself and when you mature, when you're going, now you're doing things in a higher way, in God's way. I'm here and I know the thoughts that I have for you. Now, that's actually the scripture I have. But his thoughts are higher than your thoughts and his ways are higher than your ways. But when you come up higher in him, you're elevating. When you're growing, it's called, when you're growing and you're doing things different, you're changing, you're transforming, you're allowing God to transform you. That's where your elevation comes in. And that's why the enemy works so hard to keep you in these cycles of not growing, of not changing. Because if you're not doing the transformational work that God is trying to do in you, you're not transforming, so you're not elevating. And so if you're not elevating, that's a whole nother thing. God can't really do nothing with you at an elevated place if you're not elevating. So God was just pointing that out to me. And, you know, then I had, you know, he was just showing me the whole thing of how responding from a place that, you know, I came from a certain place. And a lot of it had to do with, you know, having people try to control and, you know, push you in the box, and just, even when they're just doing it in a passive aggressive way, in a subtle way, where they're just spewing out all these illusions, you know, and then you realize what's going on. Kingdom people, that's a form of trying to control you. And even before I understood that in that way, I've experienced a lot of people just trying to control me. And it made me, you know, not allow people to control me. I push back. I don't just fall, you know, prey to people trying to control me. And so, like I said, this person is very authoritative. He's very authoritative, and he's very authoritative. He's in his authority, and it can come sometimes. He speaks with such authority, it comes off as controlling. But I had to learn through conversation and then just God showing me that's not what this is. And although I knew that, sometimes I would still respond in that way that I knew, because of what I had been through and always having to push back when people were trying to control me. And so I'm saying all that to say that I'm trying to get my thoughts right, kingdom people, that I did the right thing. God was showing me you did the right thing, even though that thing was trying to, first of all, I did the right thing by overcoming, by maturing. When you're maturing, kingdom people, when you're overcoming, you're doing the right thing. Then when the enemy tries you and you're like, nope, we stand with this, you're doing the right thing, kingdom people. And furthermore, understanding that people, we all respond from what we have come through, what we have walked through. And if you're dealing with a person who's actively trying to mature and grow and do the right things and make the proper corrections and trying to really understand you and have a healthy relationship with you, then kingdom people, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Now, if it's someone who's committed to misunderstanding you, walking away would be you doing the right thing or just not conversing with them. Anyhow, okay, the people, I'm reminded of a young lady that I received an email from that I communicate with from time to time. And it was a similar thing where she was saying some things to me and meaning well. And because I'm not one who, I'm not one who, I don't do pity parties. I don't care. How can I say this right? I'm not one who has to be encouraged and motivated. I encourage and I motivate myself. But people, don't get me wrong, I appreciate your motivation and your encouragement. It's a bonus for me, and I really do appreciate it. But this is the thing, God was showing me how I responded, not in an attacking manner at all, but God was showing me myself, and he was showing me like how I just kind of was like, it's like the way I responded to help or to someone just offering me, it wasn't nothing bad, but it just came off as poor me. Or if I'm going, whatever I'm going through or whatever. And I wasn't really going through anything in that way for that to be said. And I'm one who's all about building and becoming stronger and all this, that, and the other. Now, Kingdom people, I know we have to be vulnerable, but I'm one who am vulnerable with God and with the proper, right now, ain't even on that, vulnerable with myself. But the point that I'm making, Kingdom people, I responded in a kind of a way where God was showing me myself, like, that was a response. It was the same thing. Like, let me give you an example. I can remember several years ago, because God brought all this to my attention too. I was coughing. And it's a person that came to check on me to say, are you okay? Are you okay? And I snapped. This was years ago. I was like, I'm fine. And so it was a thing where, don't feel sorry for me. I'm okay. I'm a champion. I'm an overcomer. This ain't nothing. I'm good. So that's something in me. And it had a lot to do with a lot of experiences that I've had. And even in that kind of a case, people coming to your aid or people just checking on you and to make you think you are right, if it's not, Kingdom people, put it like this. I respond the way I do, and I was responding the way I have because of where I've come from, because of my own experiences. And the whole point is, in all of this, as far as this story is concerned, is I don't be wanting people to have pity on me, and especially if ain't nothing going on where I'm saying something is wrong, and even having challenges, and even having, you know what I'm saying, going even spiritual warfare. I consider myself to be a champ. I'm not saying I haven't had situations I'd be like, whoa. But what I'm saying, if that's the case and that's something I'm sharing with you, then that's more appropriate to me to offer. But if I'm not seeing nothing like that is going on, I'm kind of getting off topic just a little bit. But maybe I needed to say that. But this is the thing, Kingdom people. People respond from where they come from. And like even for me, I'm a work in progress. And even though I've overcome a lot, I learned a lot, I'm spiritually growing, I just share with you how I still have to see how I respond from where I've been through. But what the thing is, when you're willing to correct yourself, see it for what it is, correct yourself and allow God to do whatever inner work that still needs to be done or needs to be done. Kingdom people, when you do that, you're doing the right thing. But you have to see it for what it is, understand it, and we have to do that not just for ourselves, but we have to do that for others where that's appropriate. Even the clowns, we understand where they at and where they coming from and why they do what they do. And if you don't know, you're learning. You're figuring it out. But that's a little different because you have to keep them over there. But for someone that you are interacting with and it's for you to interact with and or you're in relationship with, you want to understand, where they're coming from, or understand that they're coming from what they know, where they walk, what they've walked through. And usually God will help you to see what it is so he can help you to know how to handle the situation. And so, Kingdom people, Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." So Kingdom people, it's always God's will to help us along the way. It's always God's will to help us to do the right thing. And when you allow God to help you do the right thing, Kingdom people, you're doing the right thing. When you're taking a high road, you're doing the right things. God has higher plans for you. So when you're doing the right thing, you're getting yourself closer to them higher plans. He said, plans to give you a hope and a future. So God has plans to give you a hope and a future. And so, Kingdom people, every time you do the right thing, you're walking into that hope and that future. John, oh no, that's it. I had here John 7:17. If anyone is willing to do his will, he will know of the teaching, whether it is of God or whether I speak. And I stopped there because I end up crossing that out for some reason, because God gave me Jeremiah 29:11. But maybe that's meaningful to someone. And it kind of is. If anyone is willing to do his will, he will know of the teaching, whether it is of God. If you're willing to do his will, you're doing the right thing. That's what I just got from that. If you people mishandling you and you still taking a high road, you leaving them over there, you not engaged them, and I'm just here because of your growth, because many of you are not engaging people because you just don't want to. You're just not in that space. You're vibrating higher. And so when you up in the high spirits, you don't even operate in that low realm where they are. So you can't even resonate with them. You know, and even, like I said, even if it's because of your growth, because you've come from one place to another. That's the whole point. When you're growing and when you're elevating, you're no longer doing things the same way. And Kingdom people, when you're no longer doing things the same way and you're doing things God's way and you're allowing God to correct you and elevate you and all that stuff, you're doing the right thing. When people are mishandling you and when people that you've tried to help and do the right by have mishandled you, but you just leave it be and you take the high road, even if maybe you was tripping at one point, but you let it go and you moved on about your business and let it go, left it in God's hands. Kingdom people, you did the right thing. Kingdom people, you did the right thing. Kingdom people, I am gonna let that rest right there. If you like this video and or if it resonates with you, please just go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Then click on that red subscribe button and subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Thank you. Then click on that bell right next to that red subscribe button so that you can receive a notification every time I upload a new video, something like this, Kingdom people. Also, if you are interested in any of the services that I presently offer, if you are interested in sowing a seed into me and my ministry, if you are interested in listening to my podcast show, if you are interested in what else, Kingdom people? If you are interested, Kingdom people, you can find all the information right down below in the description box. Also, Kingdom people, get your boss merch. Get your boss merch. Bring in the new year with your boss merch. Boss. Kingdom boss. Kingdom people, I love you all so very much. You all know I don't want to leave you, but I do have to go right now. But I will be back to hold my Kingdom people down. Now, Kingdom people, with that being said, much love, light, and peace, and many blessings to you all. Kingdom people, above all else, let the Holy Spirit lead you in all things at all times. Kingdom people, we are untouchable and unstoppable. That is my time, Kingdom people. Jesus girl is out. Peace.